Good morning. This is the Great Basin prescribed fire and weather briefing for Monday, December 8th. We'll be doing these briefings for the rest of this week, and then we'll be temporarily discontinuing them as we get into the holiday season and restarting them in early January. Look at fire activity. Prescribed fire confined basically some of the higher terrain of central and southern Utah down into the Arizona Strip and across some of the high Sierra. Northern areas have pretty much diminished their activity recently. Looking at observations of precipitation in the past 7 days, you can see it's been quite wet across the northern half of the geographic area, bone dry across the south. Our flash drought 6-week index does show a continued drying across central and southern areas, and a lot of the flash drought indices are in that moderate to moderately high category. It was dry for the first part of the 6-week period up in the north, but they've recently got precip in the last 2 weeks. But overall snowpack is looking fairly bleak across the area, basically about half or 2/3 of normal for the most part. Snow cover itself on the ground is there, a little bit below normal, but kind of extensive across the higher terrain of Idaho and western Wyoming and across the far northern Wasatch, but really peters out further south. Not much in the northern Sierra, and just a light amount in the southern Sierra. So definitely the snowpack is more robust in the mountains of not even the Cascades of Oregon, which are pretty bleak. It's up in the northern Washington Cascades and up into British Columbia and Alberta. That's where the storm track has mostly been over the past few weeks. Upper level map continues to show that deep plume of moisture into those areas, into the Pacific Northwest, where more wetness will follow, valley rains, mountain snows. High pressure will keep dominating the weather across southern areas. Dry conditions. We'll have northerly flow, some cool temperatures. See the ventilation index, overall dispersion, not really that good during the afternoon hours, kind of mostly in the red or purple. Looking for surface winds. Fairly light across southern areas. They get a little bit gustier up in the north with that storm system. You can see the relative humidities. Now, these are minimum relative humidities, somewhere between 50, 60, even 90% in the north. Southern areas down in Nevada, low 20s to low 30% range. Probably the only places dry enough to burn other than piles would be mainly south of the I-80 corridor. Transport winds quite gusty coming in out of the west-southwest with gusts of 25 to 30 up by the ridge tops in these orange and purple shades, but much lighter winds further south. Vertical mixing, decent where you see the yellows to oranges, but quite poor areas further south. Now on Tuesday, that big broad high pressure ridge continues to keep our southern areas dry, continues to pour clouds and moisture into our northern areas. Ventilation improves a little bit in some spots where you see the white. That's with stronger winds. There are some decent mid-level winds with this system. You can see them at the surface, some of these oranges and greens. You can see further on the transport winds, some of the stronger oranges and purples. Transport winds 25 to 35 miles an hour in the north. Again, light and variable once you get south of the I-80 corridor. Vertical mixing in the yellow, up maybe 2,000 to 3,000 feet above ground level. Elsewhere, the vertical mixing not so good. Not much change. High pressure still in control off the southern California coast. Still that hose of moisture pushing into Washington State, into the northern Rockies. And you can see, again, stronger winds up there, up in Idaho and western Wyoming, along with high humidity. Very strong transport winds in the Snake River Plain and some of the higher terrain of western Wyoming, and even into the Wasatch and Uinta, at least the northern Wasatch. 3-day precipitation totals, it's a story of the haves and have-nots. Heavy precipitation across the northern tier of states and into the parts of Idaho and western Wyoming. Not much south of the Snake River Plain at all. And that pattern continues. High pressure starts building northwards, bulging that storm track further north. Still seeing some moisture pushing into the Cascades and into central Idaho and western Wyoming. Snow levels will be rising in this kind of a pattern. And then similar story for Friday. Saturday, that high pressure buckles a little bit. There's another low dropping down out of the Gulf of Alaska. And then by Sunday, that low could start developing some moisture offshore, but we see a dry air mass by the end of the weekend for just about all areas. Precipitation days 4 and 5. This will be Thursday morning through Saturday morning, and then this will be Saturday morning through Monday morning. Again, not much at all across the region except in the far north. So dryness continues for many areas. This is the 7-day precip totals. Most of this will be in the first 3 to 4 days. Again, some heavy amounts in the north, but not much at all in central and southern areas. Now, the extended 8 to 14-day outlook takes us from December 15th to the 21st, shows a much warmer than normal signal here in the red across much of the Great Basin, drier than normal across southern areas, wetter than normal. Keep in mind that with warmer than normal temperatures, that means higher snow levels, less snowpack across central Idaho mountains and western Wyoming. This concludes our briefing. Next one will be Wednesday. Final one for the year will be this coming Friday. Have a great day.